Welcome to another episode of Crazy Coloring with Steph. In this episode, we're going to be coloring a page from my second released coloring book, Monster Babes. This is what the cover looks like. This is the back. Just like my other two books, it comes with 30 unique pages for coloring. Alright, so I'm just going to flip through a little bit to give everyone an idea of the types of images you're going to get to color in this book. Of course, every one of my books comes with a scribble page to test your colors. So kind of all your traditional monsters, zombie, cat people, aliens, skull people, Frankensteins, blueberry chips, unicorn girls, candy lady witch, crazy nurse, fish boy. Actually, it's fish girl, sorry. So this is the image we're going to be coloring today. This lady's name is Sarah Skull, and as you can tell by the description, she's 150 human years old. She lives in the candy aisle of the supermarket, and they say every time you sneeze, Sarah Skull listens. So it's very important. Alright, so we're going to begin our coloring adventure. Alright, so the first thing I actually want to do with her is go ahead and grab hot pink from my Prismacolors, and I'm gonna go in to this cool like neckband she has on. And if you couldn't guess, this lady was inspired by Day of the Dead and the cool sort of styling of the figures that goes on. The awesome like kind of beautified skull look that they go with when they celebrate that holiday. I remember seeing a really cool exhibit at the Chicago Cultural Center. It was a couple years ago with all Day of the Dead art. And maybe I was inspired by that exhibit because, you know, this drawing happened. I figured she'd be great for Monster Babes. So I'm going to go ahead and create a pattern with this neck choker type necklace she's wearing. And I'm going to actually do a color transition from pink into purple, because when you do things like that, it actually adds a lot of volume and it makes it interesting to the eye. So you're not just looking at one color of something, you know, it kind of like has some movement going on. So I'm going to go ahead and take my sort of violetish purple on this side and just bring it slowly towards that pink. We're going to create an ombre effect. That's always fun to do. Alright, now doesn't that look cool? There's like this awesome prism necklace going on. So then I'm actually going to go into these cool skeleton hands the lady has with my orange. So it will kind of give it a golden vibe. Like she has golden skeleton hands. Sounds pretty cool to me. Alright, so now that I have this cool golden, I'm going to actually go back in with a more traditional orange and just kind of brighten up what I already did, and it will add some shadow. As you can see, the orange and the gold come together really well. They have a nice citrusy feel. They complement each other very well. They're a good pair to use when you want to use two colors together. Alright, that looks pretty cool. So I'm actually going to go into, let's see, what do we want to do next? I think I want to pop some color into her gorgeous eyes. And see, if your colored pencil does what mine just did, just blow it away. You don't want to rub it with your hand because it might leave a mark that you don't want. And then you don't want to mess up your page after you're putting all this work into it, right? So instead of just coloring the whole eye the same, I'm going to go ahead and leave sort of like a pupilescent shine in the middle, and it actually makes her look a little bit more ghostly and like there's a soul in there rather than just a pure color. If you look at the cover of Monster Babes, I did the same thing. I always leave her eyes kind of shimmery like that. And just to be crazy, I'm actually going to go in with, this one's just called Lavender. So I'm going to go back into this eye and add a hint of lavender just to see how that looks. And that looks awesome. Love the way it mixes with the blue. Go back in a little bit more, fill that eye out. Alright, she's looking gorgy. So, I'm going to actually go in with, this one's called Mediterranean Blue. If you didn't know, if you love Prismacolor pencils like I do, go on blick.com because you can order them individually. So, like for instance, I bought like the 24, the 30 set, and then from that point, I just buy them individually to make sure I have the specific colors I want. When you go on there, you're gonna be blown away because the amount of options they have is amazing. You can get literally any tone with undertones you can ever dream of. So if you like a certain kind of palette, I'd highly recommend doing that. I'm doing the same thing we did before. I'm gonna sort of pull this color into another color and create some movement in the neck jewelry here. This one is actually pomegranate. That's one of my other favorite ones that didn't come with the set, but I ordered it separately. It's such a nice cool tone red. Alright, now that looks pretty fly. I'm gonna go back in with, let's see. I'm gonna go back in with my gold and make her neck gold. Alright, we're gonna bring that orange back in and make a shadow under her head. Very cool. Alright, so let's jump up to the top and color in some of those awesome roses. I'm gonna start with my pomegranate because I'm just obsessed. Alright, so I'm gonna pick out 3 colors for my flowers. And since this one leaves a lot of dust, I'm gonna use my big brush and brush the dust off so I'm not making any accidental kind of lines from the dust being there. Now I'm going to go back in with hot pink. I have 3 different pink and red tones, so it'll kind of all blend together in a cool way. Alright, and the last color I'm going to bring in is our lavender. Alright, so those flowers are looking awesome. I'm going to use my brush again to wipe the dust off because I'm going kind of hard on it today. Alright, so let's see. I think I'm going to go into these eyes next and darken them. And when I say darken them, I'm not going to use black or brown. I'm going to use black cherry. I think it's a great color because it has a lot nice red undertones, but it's also a really good like shading color. So I'm actually going to go on the outside of her eyelids and start there because I'm going to give her like a really poppin' eyeliner after we do this part. We're going to do a light blue. So go ahead and make this part as dark as you want because this is supposed to represent like the skull eye. Alright, I love how this has such a purple undertone to it. Alright, so let's take our big brush and wipe the dust away. And now I'm gonna take my, I'm gonna grab my teal and go ahead and color in the areas we just left out. And then that really makes that teal pop too because of that purple undertone. Alright, that looks so good. And of course I'm gonna take my pink and just get that little fleshy part of her eye. And then maybe I'm gonna just put a little pink in just to add another layer here. Oh, that looks so good. Okay, so, you know what I did in my original illustration? You know I'm crazy about the rainbow hair. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep with my love of that style. And I'm gonna take my same teal and let's go and start on the inside of her hair. And just because, you know, we don't have lines drawn in, I did that because I don't want to have to block you into doing one certain thing with your coloring page. I'm gonna make her hair kind of like banded. So we're gonna start with this teal. And I'm gonna color it in this way where, you know, I leave some highlights because it makes it look more shiny. She has some really beautiful conditioner in. Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead and grab my next color, which is going to be chartreuse. So a lot of people make fun of this color, but now you know chartreuse is really just lime green. You know, not a lot of people actually know what chartreuse is. Now you do. Alright, there's some lime. Then I think the next color, actually I'm going to go ahead and bring it into our teal. Because that does look pretty cool, doesn't it? When it mixes. Looks pretty cool to me. Alright, so the next band we're gonna do, you know what, I want to bring this pink back in just because, I'll be honest with you, that's my favorite color. So I miss it when I don't see it. I'm gonna leave enough space so we can add one final band after we do our pink. Oh, this already looks so pretty. Every time I do this, I just want to dye my hair. Alright, and then for our final color, you know, let's go ahead and do... Let's go back to our blue Mediterranean. I think that would really frame the head nicely. So I'm going to go back in with that. I'm going to go dark with it, so go ahead and put some pressure on it. And then it also blends with that pink really nice and makes it purpley, which is always a plus. I'm going to get some nice blending going on, because, you know, it's really noticeable when you're using out-of-the-box color, we used to call it in art school. And the more you mix your colors, the more it like is really shocking to the eye in a way, because it's like something new. So I'd always recommend blending your colors whenever, you know, it's possible or you're feeling it. But if not, that's okay too. Go ahead and take my brush and brush away the dust like we do. Go back into the other side and blend a little bit. Go ahead and put her last streaks of blue in there. You know, a lot of people, you know, they have jobs and stuff where they can't dye their hair or wear crazy makeup. So coloring's a great outlet for that if you just want to get it out of your system. You know, sometimes you see something cool walking down the street and you're like, oh, I want to wear like super silver lipstick or something like that, but you have nowhere to wear it to or a situation that would make sense to wear it. So why not just color it that way in your coloring book? Now is the fun part because we could do her face makeup. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my pomegranate again. Actually, you know what? Just kidding. I'm not gonna do pomegranate. I'm gonna go ahead with red orange. Red orange is a good one for this. So let's go into that chin because it's gonna differentiate from the orange that's like right below it. Go ahead and make this a bright orangey red chin. Then I'm going to bring the orangey red into these little dots around her eye makeup. And I think we might actually mix another red tone into here just to kind of switch it up. So let's go ahead and just do the outside as the orangey red. And then for the inner red, we're going to go back to pomegranate. That way it's kind of like switching it up a little bit more. I'm actually going to go back into this chin with my pomegranate and darken it a little bit so it looks like there's just more going on. Alright, and so for the outline of her like makeup on the bottom, I'm going to go back to my dark blue, and if you notice I have it in a colored pencil extender. This is like one of the coolest inventions known to man. It's when you whittle your pencils down to the very nub. You know, it's hard to hold that, so you put it in this holder, lock it in place, and you can use that thing down to the super duper nub without, you know, wasting or having to buy a new one when you're not ready to. So I highly recommend these. They have them at Blick and Amazon as well if you prefer that. I'm gonna go ahead and do my outline now in this really bright, cool blue color. Alright, looking fly. Go ahead and her little drops of paint over here, and I'm going to do these dark blue too and leave them kind of fadey. So I'm going to go back in with my orangey red and pull it back in that color. Alright, and so for the little dots up here, I'm going to go ahead with my blue again just to make it all cohesive. And then for the other ones, I'm just going to do it regular orange. Bring my orange up here. I'm going to do these orange. I want her face to look more like a skull, so I'm going to pretty much leave it white and put a little bit of shading, but we'll get to that. See, and for the nose, let's go back to that black cherry to kind of darken it so it has that skull vibe, and color this stuff in with that. I don't know about you, but I get so relaxed when I'm coloring. Like, whatever I'm stressed out about, I like just forget about it and just kind of enjoy what's going on in front of me. Alright, and then I think I'm actually going to go back in that little dot I left in her nose with the orange, because that looks pretty cool, the gradient. For the little dots on the bottom, let's do our pomegranate again, tie it all together. I'm going to go over, you know, those lips with my lavender. Actually, I'm going to do some lavender shading, just so you know, like, she's got some volume in these lips here, because we don't want to just leave it plain white, you know, it'll just kind of be a little plain looking. So I'm just going to go and add some shading, and then also under here just to kind of contour her a bit, if you will. And then the purple and the orange, of course, they're opposite, so they go together very, very well. Can even darken it a little bit more, give her some sharp contour on the side. I might actually put some up in the brows and a little bit under these flowers. Kind of makes it just look like there's a little bit of shadow going on. Alright, and what am I missing? Oh, I'm going to go into those final lines on the lips with the dark cherry, just so it pops a bit, because the shading that's already on the paper is just gray. It's not going to hold up to what we've been doing with the other colors, so just to darken it a little bit looks cool. Actually, I'm going to go back into the nose too with my lavender and just give her a little shading. Alright, and final stage, of course, is to take your brush and dust the dust off. And voila, we are done.